Alright, Kyle, this is Chris once more. This is a response to your request earlier about, excuse me, for about jazz chords and jazz licks or improvisational tools, excuse my mispronunciation. First thing I'd like to share with you about um, jazz according to gospel is the difference or the separation betwixt the two. Jazz itself is a genre, if you might not be familiar with the roots that come from the gospel church. Um, Gospel music is the foundation of all of other music with relation to the man or woman of color. So when you talk about jazz, you first have to acknowledge um, its roots in the gospel church. I'm privileged to share with you that there has come a time, uh, and we are in a time where a musician is born within the church, where we now have not only the opportunity to, but the responsibility to redefine church and reclaim what has been shared with the secular world as music of enjoyment uh, to the gospel setting. What I believe has happened, I believe that there is a sharing that has left the church and become a part of the secular world that has once more returned to the gospel venue. Yet this persona of musicianship must be cultivated, embraced, and shared amongst ourselves first and foremost, and then with the listening ear that would hear. So when you hear me play, before I ever strike a note tonight with this session, when you hear me play what would sound primitively or primarily jazz in its nature, I would share with you that it is not, but rather I would share with you that it is uh, possibly a new formation of an idea of musicality with a rudiment that is religious and faithful in its very nature, but relative to the genre of jazz. The jazz musician does not play with an intent or purpose of ideas of sanctification or holiness or ideas that are related to the religious sect. So what I found and thought to do in my playing, I thought to do and play what I hear in the jazz field, but I seek to adhere to the roots of my upbringing in doing so. And what I found was an idea that was related to the genre of jazz, but actually cannot be labeled as such because of its rudiment and primitive thought. However, I can say that the means that one comes to this conclusion may very well start with listening to jazz and learning from jazz, but not necessarily being a partaker of the genre of the field within itself, or the idea of jazz within itself, because there is a difference in jazz music and there is a difference in gospel music, and that difference must be known and understood, if not by the people that hear it, most certainly by the musician, him or herself. And that's what I wanted to share with you first before I I gave you anything about what I play that is based on jazz, based on the jazz sound and feel. What I learned in jazz when I was in jazz band in high school, I was in jazz band for 2 years in high school, and I was a part of the jazz band, the jazz ensemble band for 2 years straight. That was the second highest band. And I learned in high school everything I needed to know to play or be classified as a jazz musician. It is the foundation of all that you will play. It is the foundation of everything that you will do. And in it you can find any idea you want to play, or you can decipher any solo through transcription that you seek to find to do so with what I'm going to give you. I was given, for simplicity's sake, I'll just simply say it's a major scale in 5 different forms, in 5 different places on the fret, on the neck of the guitar, in different formations and different shapes. What these different forms and shapes on the guitar will allow you to do, it would allow you to be mobile at any point in the guitar to find different places, to possibly play the same idea in a different way, in a different style, in a different sound, on any place of the guitar. And what I'm about to give you is what I know. I cannot share with you more than what I know. Once you receive what I have to give here as far as this is concerned, it's your responsibility to take it any further, and where it leads you, only the good Lord knows. So I'll start with just what it sounds like. This is in, I guess it will start with A flat. That's what you call root position. Root position major scale. That's what you'll learn if you look in any book. They'll call it a Dorian mode. You'll hear it called that, or you'll just hear it called simply and basically a major scale. I don't like to think of it as a major scale because I don't like to think of any note or any sequence of notes that I play as scales, because if I think that way, that's what it'll sound like. I just like to think of it as the first position of a major scale, if that makes any sense. I'll try to explain it the best I can. This is his first position, major scale, even though I don't like to think of it as a scale. Major mode, not major mode, because I don't like to think of modes either. But I just like to call it first position. I just call it first position scale, even though I don't like to think of it like that. That's first position, and I'll play what it sounds like in the second position. Third position. Fourth position. Fifth position, and I go back to the top of the fret because the fifth position really lies behind the first position. Excuse me. if I play it starting at the 5th position all the way to the 4th position, I'll show you how I go from the 1st fret all the way to the bottom of the guitar, the last fret almost, playing the same idea down the entire length of the scale. I'll start with the 5th position. Excuse my mistakes in trying to play the chords, but it's the same idea and the same sequence of chords from the 1st fret all the way down to the final frets and beyond in the same key tone, in the same key signature, that being A flat right now. So this is the idea that's basically off of the A chord, the A major 7 chord. And honestly, that idea and that concept will take you as far as you truthfully need to go in the world of jazz. The idea behind jazz is improvisation, and the basis of improvisation, if you allow me to say, and it might be unfair for me to tell you this, but this is how I feel about it. The basis of improvisation at this point in time and at this time of my understanding is everything that I just showed you. The key behind playing melodic ideas is actually formulating a sequence of notes that really identifies who you are as a person and as a musician. It really is a idealistic transcription of what is given to you by the source or voice behind your playing, and that's actually what I'm trying to come into myself. So I'll just share with you some ideas that I formulate and that I've actually transcribed from listening to other players, maybe jazz players, that these ideas are found within the notes and ideas that I just shared with you. And then I'll come back and I'll show you the ideas one note at a time, so you can see how to start to formulate them on your own and practice them and play them for yourself. I'll play it again. Just not for you necessarily to learn how to play it, but for you to hear what could come from playing these simple notes. And what I just played was really everything that I know. I just really played everything that I could think of to play at the present moment. And it'll be funny because you'll think you'll play everything that you know, but that's the fun thing about playing and actually playing under spiritual influence and anointing. You'll play ideas that you'll never really thought you could have played by the simple inspiration that drives your playing. Anyway, I'll start with the first position in A flat. You have G, A flat, B flat, and you can take the time. You can take the time to mimic these notes on your own, but it's simple. Those are the only 8 notes of everything that I've played from the beginning to the end. Then I simply extend the first 8 notes. That same reflection of the first position in the second position starts on the B flat to C natural, then D flat to the 5, which is E flat, and goes from there. The first 8 notes. Then I mimic those same 8 notes starting from the A flat, jumping to the B flat, to the C, D flat once more, E flat, F, G natural, A flat. Then I have to go, I'm sorry, I forgot the D flat, C, and the D flat. And that's the entire second position from the beginning. Third position, starting with the C natural. Fourth position, starting at the E flat, F, G flat, A flat, A flat, B flat, C, then I'll just work my way down. Fifth position, as I said once more, if this is the first position, if this is A natural, A flat, and the first 4 frets, starting with a fret behind the root, are normally the width span of the entire idea. If the first position is here, the 5th position is always here, in the first 4 frets behind, including the root fret being A flat. That's open on the G note. I'll play it right once if you allow me. That'll get you started in trying to learn some jazz licks and improvisational ideas. Before you can play anything, you have to know all 5 of those and be able to play them fluently, one note at a time, because that's where I began. Just off the bat, something that you could try to learn once you learn the first, second, third position. That starts on the D flat, and it really just spells out a major chord, or even a minor 9 chord. That's D flat, F, root A flat, and C natural. It's an arpeggiated idea. It's called an arpeggio with the way that you play the chords, and I'm slightly uncomfortable with sharing it with you, but it's something that I know, but it's something I'd rather you not necessarily learn how to play by itself, because I will share it that it's really a way of cheating on improvisation. But it's still a good idea to play, and it's something I play all the time because it's something I learned. It was one of the first ideas I learned how to play, so I kind of embrace it, but it'd be up to you. It's something good to learn, but if you can get past it and go beyond it, I would suggest it, but that's where I'm at now. I'll share what I'm doing here with the chords in a second. You could even do that in the first position. Same idea, just different notes. Starting with the A flat, C natural. This will be E flat and G. Just to play the idea one note at a time, then come down the scale on the last note that you play. That's really just like a blues idea. The joy of knowing the different positions is being able to move from one part of the fret to the next, and that's something I enjoy doing, and I'm still fascinated with myself. Even though I might not play the most melodic ideas all the time, I'm a fanatic, and I enjoy being able to jump from here to this part of the fret and go all the way to the top part of the fret. I'm a fanatic of being able to do that, and it's a joy for me to understand that the only way I can do this is through these positions, or these translations of the same idea that starts here with the Dorian mode or the major scale, and moves all the way up and down the entire length of the fretboard. the premise of this. Not what I played, but the notes that I played are the premise of everything that I just did. Everything. And if you learn those notes backwards and forwards, you'll find yourself starting to play ideas, and you'll start to hear and be able to move up and down the scale of the fretboard in ways that you have not been able to do so as of yet. Now what I'll share with you are some jazz chords, or chords that can be labeled jazz but really are universal in their very nature. I'll start with the minor 9 chord. It's a real pretty chord, and it's you can use it a lot in rhythm guitar and rhythmic idea. I'll give you the notes. We're still in A flat. The places I'm playing the minor 9 chord in is the relative 6, so it's the minor 6, because I say it's the 6th chord because it starts with the root being on the 6th note of the scale. If the root is the first note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the root of the chord that would be found in the based off of the 6th root, or with the root being the note, which is in this case F natural in the bass. I could play a major chord, but in the mind of the major being at the first position, which is A flat, you normally play a minor chord at the 6th, which in this instance I'll share with you the minor 9, and then I'll share with you the minor 7, which you probably already know, but these notes are spelled in such a fashion. This is F natural, A flat, E flat, and G natural. Again, those notes are F natural, A flat, E flat, and G flat. In A flat, and it gives you a real nice sound, a nice feel and a nice sound, real jazzy like. But you could use it in a lot of gospel songs, and you'll hear it in a lot of gospel songs. The next chord I'll share with you is the 2 chord, because the root of the chord is in has a bass note that's on the 2nd note of the scale. 1, talking A flat here. 1, 2, which is a minor chord once more, and it is a reflection of this chord, the minor 9, but with a bass note on the E note. That's here, and it's simple. You just lay the chord like this, with the second finger on the B flat, and the third finger here, you just take it and lay on the A flat, D flat, and I don't know what note, the F natural. But you have to reach with your pinky and grab the C natural. Another way to do this is to use your index finger and lay it on the C natural, D flat, and the F, and you can wrap the thumb around and grab the B flat, and still use the pinky for the C natural. Some I do in playing, and this is a guitar responsibility you'll hear, because I don't think you'll be able to hear an organ or a piano player play it, but you could. If he doesn't, then I'll choose to. If he does, then I won't. I'll just play it. But if he doesn't, that's just trilling off of the from the I guess this is from the A flat to the B flat to the what's this note? E flat to the F note. That's all it is. And I'll show you how to use it. Normally when you play the two leads to the 5 in scalar fashion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that 5th note is E flat, and you'll play a regular 9 chord. Back to the 1. So just the 3 chords that I just showed you. And that's just a different way to play a 5 chord. Instead of playing, I just lay it straight. But I use 2 fingers to do it. I use the second finger to play the root, and the third finger to play the rest of the note. It's all in the same fret, and excuses the first string. Back to the 1 chord. I'll share this with you, the simple way to play the 1 that's not so superimposing on an organ player or a keyboard player, is just 3 notes, but it's difficult to play because it mimics probably the 3 notes that a keyboard player or an organ player would play regularly. But if you play the chords together and actually seek to share the sound as opposed to play the chord, then it really serves its purpose real nice. That's B flat, E flat, and A flat. I normally normally don't play the root because I'll have a bass player probably playing with me, but if I did play it sounds different though with it and without the root. And you can drop the A flat to play in a G natural and manipulate the chord like that. And here's how I'll use that. Instead of the minor 9, I'll show you the minor 7, and this is something you probably already know. Minor 9, minor 7. Instead of having the A flat here, you'll play a C. And instead of playing this note here, which is the G natural, you'll play in the A flat. And I'll show you why I like to a lot of times shift between the minor 9 and the minor 7. So thus far we've played chords with root ideas on the 1, the first note, the 6th note, the 2nd note, and the 5th note. All chords have been minor chords except on the root position, and you'll see that that's frequently the case. But the only other place you'll probably see a major chord is at the 4th note, with the 4th note in the bass of the idea, which in this case is D flat. And for constructive purposes, I will introduce the idea of the 2-5-1 sequence of chords. And of course we have the 2 in A flat being the B flat minor chord, the 5 being a dominant chord, a dominant 9 chord, but this note here is an 11. That's add 11, but just for constructive purposes, we'll subtract the 11 and just play a dominant 9 to the 1 chord. Now, if you treat the 4 in this example as the root position or as the first note of a major scale, this would be a major scale in D flat. The 2 chord would be a minor E flat, because the 2nd note in D flat is E flat. So there I would play a minor 9 chord. And at the 1, well, for the 5, the 5th note in E flat would actually be A flat. So I would have to play a dominant chord. And this gives us the opportunity to learn 2 chords in with the same bass note or root, A flat. We have a major or a 13 chord in this example that I'll share with you. And that's excusing the root is G flat, C natural, F natural, and B flat. don't like to play it like that, you can be lazy like me and wrap the thumb around and catch the root there and play the G flat with your index finger and play the C natural with your third finger and lay your pinky down on the F and the B flat. However you grab it is up to you. But all those two chords lead to the 4 chord or the 1 chord. It's the major 7 with the root on the 5th string. So going back to A flat being the root position or the major position, if we'd like to play it or play a sequence of chords getting us to the 4 chord, you'll play put everything together. I'll go back to the first chord that we started with, the minor 9 with the 6th at the root, and I'll somehow work my way back to playing the 4 chord, just to give you an idea of what it would sound like and how it's applicable to your playing. That's all in the key signature of A flat. Those chords should give you a pretty good start at developing a sound or a flavor that's really that can be labeled as jazzy. Trying to think of anything else that I could share with you, and I think that's about the gist of everything. 5 positions and those chords. And that should be enough to practice on for a little while. When you get familiar with it, let me know how far it takes you, and let me know how you feel about it, and whatever other help you might need with it, I'll share with you, and we'll go from there. Good luck, man, in your travels with this endeavor.